Financial Survival Network, helping you to survive and thrive in the new economy. Get our complimentary newsletter at financialsurvivalnetwork.com. This is the Financial Survival Network.
Financial Survival Network is presented to you by Regal Assets. Buy and sell physical gold and silver through your existing retirement plan, 100% tax-free with Regal Assets. If you want to include physical gold or silver in your existing IRA or old 401k, request your free investment kit, which was recently featured in the Forbes and Smart Money Wall Street Journal magazines. Call toll-free 855-678-6620, 855-678-6620, or visit regalassets.com. Is the cartel dead? The group that's been keeping precious metals prices in the cellar for decades? Or are they simply taking a well-deserved summer vacation? I'm not sure of that, but we've got Bix Weir, roadtorooted.com. He's got some ideas. Bix, welcome back to financialsurvivalnetwork.com.
Hey, Kerry, it's nice to be here.
Always a pleasure, Bix. You know that. So what are you seeing here in these markets? Is the end of the cartel here, or is the reports of their death greatly exaggerated?
Well, the reports of the end of the manipulation are greatly exaggerated. You know, there's it's interesting to look at the COMEX and you know, that's the main market that people get their prices from gold and silver. And yes, we've definitely seen some action. You know, I've talked about this all summer that come around, you know, the nomination of the Republican candidate, things should heat up, and into the end of the year, things should get really crazy. You look at the COMEX, and the thing that people really don't realize is that the COMEX is not a barometer of real silver prices or real gold prices. The COMEX is the futures and options market. It's paper gold, it's paper silver. And they can control that with computer programs. You know, every second, every day, you can even see it in the movements of gold and silver. They move at exactly the same time, exactly the same amount. You know, very little fluctuation. So you know it's still under control. In July, just in July on the COMEX, and July was a pretty boring month for gold and silver.
Yeah, it was a sideways channel that's been going on for months, and you know, all I know is it's awful for listenership because you get bored listening to me say, buy gold and silver, you know, or at least that's what I would do if I was in your position. Can't give financial advice, all that great stuff. But people get bored of it. And all of a sudden, and like all hell has broken loose in the metals markets.
It potentially has. You know, for example, in July, you're not going to believe this, but there were 4,700,000,000 ounces of silver sold. 4 billion.
Is that all?
That's right from the COMEX data. And all you have to do is look at the average daily volumes, times that by the 21 trading days in July, and you're going to come up with 4.7 billion ounces of silver that were sold. Now, these are paper silver contracts. So, you know, who was it? Who sold those 4.7 billion ounces? What it is these banks that control the price trading back and forth to each other. They don't care about, you know, how many contracts go in a nanosecond. They care about controlling the price. They care about controlling sentiment. So, you know, to see the price start to move up means somebody who has control over all that wants the price to go higher. And I do think this is the time where, you know, that silver breaks loose from the manipulation, but it will probably take the shutting down of the COMEX for that actually to happen. And I do see that happening by the end of the year.
Yeah, and they can control the price, but when the trend goes so far against them, they don't really want to be in front of a freight train coming at them full speed either, right? And seasonally, this is a bad time to be trying to keep the prices down.
That's true, but you know, the very moment that they stop it, and we've seen this over the years, you'll have this huge spike in the price kind of instantaneously, and then it'll come back down because they know that the very moment that this price suppression stops on silver, it will try to revert to its true fair market value, whatever that happens to be. It's not 300, it's not $1,000, it's not $10,000 an ounce. Nobody knows what the true fair market value of silver is. So the very second that they stop manipulating the price, you're going to see silver go so high and so fast that it would destroy the shorts. Most people say it's JP Morgan. I do believe that they are part of the cartel that rigs the price. But and then you have so many other issues if silver really does break out. You lose a bank, you lose every bank if it's JP Morgan because they're 70 trillion in derivatives. So it's right now.
Is that all there is? 70 trillion? I mean,
we've lost complete sign of any type of reality in the financial markets because of derivatives, because of all these, 4.7 billion ounces traded in July of silver. There's not 4.7 billion ounces ever mined in the world. So, to have that trade in July has lost all contact with any kind of reality. And it's bizarre that people even believe that electronic blips count as your assets these days.
Yeah, well, we're going to cut back to a time where real money is the money in your pocket and that jingles around and what you can hold in your hand and actually see. But, these things all take time. Nothing happens overnight, and it's going to be interesting to see how they try to get out of this without a total collapse of everything. Because what you're describing is what I've believed for a long time, is that silver is the tail that wags the dog, and when it loses that tail, the dog isn't going to know what to do, which is why you need to have it now, why you need to get ready for this while there's still a chance, even though silver's broken that magical, mythical $30 line, and it could easily go back. They could knock it down for a week or two or a couple of months. It's going to go back over that. We see that when they let up on the brakes, the prices invariably go up, whatever their reason might be.
And you're right. And silver is the key to, what they say, melting the witch. Silver has the potential to free us from these bankers because it is their Achilles heel. And, it probably won't come on the COMEX because, the COMEX is rigged every day with computers. Where it will come is the lack of physical silver needed in the industrial area, and then when they let the price go higher, then people get interested. So that's when physical buying actually starts. And make sure everybody you talk to buys physical silver and keeps it in their own possession, because if this thing gets as sideways and as crazy as I believe it's going to get in the very near future, you're going to have to be out of these markets and standing on the sidelines with your piles of silver.
Totally agree. And Bix, I mean, this is what you write about day in and day out. Obviously, everybody wants to know when is this going to happen? And honestly, I think you're better off not knowing, because it's kind of like the Twilight Zone. Whenever people find out what their future is going to be, their life leading up to that future generally turns into a living hell. So you're better off just knowing where it's going, preparing with physical metal and other preparations too, because who knows what the fallout's going to be. We could see a lot of civil unrest, a lot of chaos in the streets. So you need to prepare for that, but you're better off not knowing the exact time and place and date of the whole thing, right?
Yes, you're right. And if there's anything I've gotten wrong over the years, it's timing. And that it was Warren Buffett who said, "Don't tell me what to buy, tell me when to buy it." And it kind of gets back to, Buffett understands what's going on. He knows the entire manipulation thing. He's working with the good guys to take these bankers out. And at some point, Buffett will get back into silver. He knew exactly what he was doing, and the bad guys kind of took him out of the position. He had 120 million ounces.
Sure.
They took him out of that position because of his General Re problems, and he's playing along with the game, but he also knows that at any moment he could pull the plug on it with all his derivatives, just crash those derivatives, and the daisy chain begins. So, there's a lot of people working on this to try to get us back to a safe and sound monetary system. But it is going to take a crash, because you're going to have to wipe out all these phantom instruments of debt and of assets, because electronic blips are the funniest type of money ever invented by humans.
You got that right. They're totally intangible. And yet, what's interesting is during the Depression, the Great Depression, and this we could easily call the Greater Depression, during that time, when people lost confidence in the banks, they pulled their money out, put it in the mattress. You can't do that now. Corporations can't take out $1 billion in cash. And what would they do with it, even if they could? So then it comes to, you take it from this bank and put it in another. A lot of good that's going to do you. So we're in a totally different area and a different mindset of what money is. And I think what this crash will do is bring us back to the fundamentals of what money really is. And that means savings and a lot of other things are going to come back in vogue once people know that when they save, they'll be saving real money and not these little blips you're talking about.
You are 100% correct, and it's so important that we do learn that lesson. And yes, the lesson will be difficult. It will be difficult to face that reality that all these phantom assets are not they're just debt. They're just an IOU from a bank to you, and that bank has leveraged 30, 40 to 1, and now they're losing, so they're insolvent basically. Yeah. So the key is, unfortunately, that we're going to have to erase all this bad debt, and that will come with a derivative implosion that's kind of going on already in Europe. But it's a hard lesson, but it's a lesson that needs to be learned if we're going to move forward. And if you think about it, once this banking implosion happens, yes, you'll lose all your assets, but you'll also lose that debt. All that debt will be erased overnight with a large banking crash, and that's what they tried to avoid in 2008. But they just delayed it until now. And keep an eye on the election. Keep an eye on Ron Paul next week. If the good guys get him in as the nominee, then we have a chance at a more smooth kind of transition into this new world.
Well, this remains to be seen, and we're definitely watching all of it. But I think certain things in life are inevitable, and I think this crash is one of them. So we'll be with you on the Road to Root at Bix, roadtoroota.com, ROAD2ROOTA.com. And to hear this interview, as well as many others I've done with Bix, financialsurvivalnetwork.com. Bix, you be well. I'm going to talk to you after the convention. We'll get a wrap up, and we'll see. I think we'll have a better idea of where this is all heading after Labor Day, when the A-team traders get in and they look at their books and they say, oh my God, and they start dumping everything. And man, it will be a whirlpool, just sucking it all down the drain, and good riddance.
They might be dumping and throwing it all into gold and silver. So be ready for some action in September.
Oh, you got that right. It's just surprising. It started right now, but it's not really surprising. It's all part of the plan. Bix, We'll talk to you again soon. You be well.
Sounds good, Kerry.